welcome to round 3 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of June 21st. I'm Catherine Haleko, and I'm here with Terry Morrow.
Hello.
And Nicole Eridix.
Hi there.
We're moms of teens and young adults, and when it comes to parenting, we've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. But we're still waiting for that day when we'll reach the finish line and have no further need to lay down in a dark room with a wet rag over our eyes, worrying about something or other. Wednesday's complaint day here on Parenting Roundabout, and today we're complaining about wildlife invading our space. Nicole has a cautionary tale or a scary story.
Cautionary, traumatic, call it what you want, but it was a nightmare.
Aw, what happened?
Well, here I was. So my house has been like slowly falling apart for the last year because we've been living in it consistently and using it. And every day something's been happening. Like today, my garbage can got stolen. Like, not that that means that my house is falling apart, but it's just like really one more thing, right? Like, my aircon went. Anyway, so the other thing that we're dealing with, because we live in Southern California, so for those of you that think it's all like fun and cheery and happy and cool and whatever, it's actually not, because there's a lot of bugs here.
Aww.
And a lot of like scorpions and snakes and tarantulas. And anyway, so that's the prelude to my story. But so here I am in my office, as we all do, and I'm sitting there and like, you know how your hair falls out and you have to pick it off your shirt?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm just sitting here minding my own business a couple days ago, and I felt a hair on my arm, and I leaned over, or, I reached over to take it off, pluck it off.
Yeah.
And it was a gargantuan spider.
Mm.
It was
And
larger than the size.
Right?
And it was larger than the size of a quarter. It was big.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And so I immediately reacted,
Yeah.
right? And I brushed it off. But in doing so, it bit me. Pardon?
Was there some screaming involved?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Well, initially I was in shock, right? I was like, I have to get this thing off of me. And then as I brushed it off, my hand flew across my desk and everything went off my desk.
Oh,
Because computer, laptop, everything went flying off of my desk.
Golly.
Because I was just trying to, and of course my chair fell back because I stood up. It was utter chaos.
Oh my goodness.
And I screamed, and then of course, as I was brushing this thing off, it bit me.
Oh no.
So, yeah. So then of course, I've got this spider off of my arm, but the problem is, where did I fling it to?
Right.
Yes.
Where is it?
Oh no.
Now I've got to find the darn thing, because I got to kill it now, right? Like, I'm sorry. I know there's some people out there that believe in saving spiders. I'm not one of them.
Not when they're the size of a quarter.
Yes, and they bit you already.
Yes. It already had 2 strikes against it.
Right.
So I found it. So in the meantime, my husband, who doesn't really seem to take these things seriously, like, not that, like, he, it just doesn't register.
Yeah.
And he's like downstairs. He hears all of this commotion, and he's downstairs, and he's like, "Is everything okay?"
No,
there's a spider.
And I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, "Quickly, get up here! There's a spider!" Blah blah, whatever, right? And so they came racing up. Him and Chris. Well, not racing. My husband lumbered up. And my daughter and son came in, and so I managed to find the spider, and it was in the corner, and I threw a binder on it. And I sat on the binder until everybody arrived. I was not letting that thing go.
Oh dear.
But because we have carpet, when I lifted the binder, it wasn't dead.
Ah.
Because it got squished into the carpet, right? It's still alive. So then it scurried off again, and we all had to scramble and find this thing again. It was like, you know, like those old Charlie Chaplin movies. Yeah. Not the Charlie Chaplin movies, but the ones like the Three Stooges.
Right.
It was kind of like this. We were scrambling after this spider. Eventually we got it. We cornered it. It met a very unhappy ending. And I was
unhappy
traumatized.
For it. Happy for you.
Happy for it. But then I still had to live with the fact that I had a spider on my arm that was like humongous. And plus I'd just been bit.
Right.
So we're like, oh my goodness.
Gosh.
So my son is like, well, we have to keep it because we need to show the doctor in case you have to go to the ER. So, because there's brown recluses here and there's brown widows here where I live. And they're more dangerous than the black widows.
Yikes.
So anyway, so my son put it in a little container, and then I noticed that my arm was starting to swell because of this bite. So my son went into student doctor mode and was, you know, getting a compress and, you know, put a circle around the bite to track its growth to see if, you know, it grew. And then he's like taking photos of the spider. And anyway, thankfully the swelling went down after a while. Yeah. But as soon as it was all over and as soon as I put my desk back together, I called the pest company and I'm like, we've been having you here spraying outside for the last 10 years. It's time you came in. So anyway, we had him come in. Of course, he came at the time that I was doing a webinar. So, and there he is in his brown uniform spraying behind me, you know, big pest company on his shirt, while I'm doing this webinar, but he did do the inside. So the whole point of the story is that he believes that the spider came through my window, which has a screen on it.
Uh-oh.
Which apparently they can crawl in and around and under. And so the moral of the story is close your windows. Seal them. Do not
seal yourself in so you don't get any oxygen.
That's true.
Oh my God.
My follow-up question here is, have you had a chat with the cats?
Well,
and reminded them that they have a function?
They have a job, right?
To make sure that you never have to have such a traumatic experience?
Well, and here's the thing. Like, I've got 3 cats in my house right now because my son's home and he brought his cats.
What are they doing?
So,
Spider, come on.
They were not doing their job. But you know what? I seem to think that spider was too big for them. I don't think that they would go after that spider. No? It was far too big.
Bigger than a mouse?
No.
I think your cats are feeding you a line.
They might be. They're telling me a tale. Yeah, okay. So they're not doing their job, obviously. I need to get on to them about that.
I do enjoy when once in a while if a fly gets inside and my dogs chase it, and they're quite inept, but it is still really funny to watch.
But they still understand that it's their job, you know, even if they're not good at it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like my little cat Ellie, she's a pro at getting flies. She can get the flies. Maybe she just hasn't been introduced to spiders yet. Maybe I need to. I don't know. Anyway, so that's my story for the week.
Scary. We did actually have a mouse in our house recently. And
you did?
Afterwards, I seriously thought our local animal shelter is overrun with cats because I think they cleared out a house that somebody had hoarded cats. So there's cats galore. And I was thinking maybe we could be cat people if it would avoid this problem.
Right.
But I think what happened is that we'd never seen one in the house before. And the next day, our new neighbor said, oh, yeah, we had mice in the attic. We had to fumigate. So I think a little refugee came over and accidentally somehow ran into our door and then was just way more scared than we were.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
I don't like this. It's like running super fast. My husband put down a plastic shopping bag and it ran into the bag and we just carried it outside and set it free.
Oh.
But
Were we doing this podcast at the time when our house had bats?
I think you may have mentioned that. Oh,
Yeah.
rats with wings.
Yeah, that was
How did you ever get rid of them?
Oh, we had to have a bat person come and seal up the attic, basically. Like, they were in the attic, and they were somehow getting, out of the attic, and getting downstairs. And so what they do is they come and they, like, seal up, they put, like, basically a one-way exit on the attic so that when the bats go out to find their snacks, then they can't get back in.
Oh, okay.
Because you're not allowed to kill them. And also we had to wait until, like, the baby bats were big enough to go out on their own.
Goodness.
Like, we had to harbor the whole bat family until such time as the babies could live on their own, because, bats are good and you don't want to kill them.
They pay rent?
No, we had to pay to evict them. So
We have this bunny who lives, I think there's a bunny family living under our front steps. And periodically we see the big bunny kind of standing around, and we refer to it as our landlord. We should drop some rent as we walk into our house.
right.
The super is here.
A carrot or two, maybe.
She tolerates us.
That's funny. Yeah.
I feel
It's
like in
very
the past
stressful.
year, like during the COVID year, there's been more rabbits. Like,
Yes.
I don't know if because, like, last spring there was less traffic on the road or what,
Yes.
or what happened, but especially last spring and summer, they were just, like, everywhere.
They have been emboldened here
Yeah.
also.
And how about cicadas? Did you ever get them?
Oh, yeah. What's happening there?
We have not seen a single cicada. I understand there are some in New Jersey. They ain't in our part of New Jersey. And that's
Probably
just fine with
for
us.
the best.
New Jersey is unusual, I think. It's not that big a state, but there are some parts that are really intensely populated, and then there's some parts that are just very, very much not. And I think that's the parts that the cicadas hang out in. You know, they like a bunch of trees all in the same place, and they're not going to find that where I live. So, so no, haven't seen them. But I've heard that there's been places in New Jersey that are overrun, so...
Exciting.
The critters I've had to deal with, and they haven't been that one. They've mostly just been squirrels and rabbits and one extremely freaked
One
out
little
mouse.
Well, I'll trade you.
Yeah, I'm one of those who tries to not squish the insect, but escort it outside, especially if it's an insect that obviously got in accidentally, like went through the wrong crevice and suddenly wound up inside a house. As opposed to ants, who, that's war. And they knew what they were doing. So they're going down.
Yes.
Flies possibly also. But a lone creepy crawly I might try to loosely cover with a Kleenex and toss outside.
Gently escort to the door.
And then because I watch too many Disney movies, I'm like, but will it be able to find its family? What if it came in through a different part of the house? And this house is huge to them. What sort of trek will it be on? If it survived, like being held in a Kleenex, it's probably very good.
And flung
Predators
out
are
the door.
certainly best not to think too much about this stuff. And I would that spider would have gone down though, Nicole. If you're crawling on me and you bite me, and then you are like something out of a horror movie that keeps coming back.
Yeah.
I have no remorse.
Yeah. Yeah. I think after that happened, I definitely went into a dark room and put a towel over my eyes.
See, I would have been worried. What if there's a spider in the towel? What if there's a spider in the dark room? I think I would have gone into a very bright room and sat and stared at every possible corner.
Not slept for like 5 days. I've been on spider watch.
Every time you turn around, every time your hair brushes against your face, spider!
I know. That's the problem. Now I'm brushing it off. Okay.
Okay.
I've got to stop talking about these creepy
Yes.
crawlies. It's all
Take us
coming
out of
back
this
to
episode, please.
me. Please. That's it for today's round 3. Tune in tomorrow when we'll obsess about meeting the parents, and then on Friday to see what we've come up with for our roundup picks this week. Find all our episodes at parentingroundabout.com and talk back in the comments there, on our Facebook page or on Twitter, where you will find us at Roundabout Chat.